This season, Alexander Isak departed Newcastle for upwards of £100 million after he obviously refused to play for Newcastle. And Newcastle decided to sign Woltemade in a club record £69 million deal. And this player is relatively unknown, but the 199cm striker has already made his mark in the Premier League, with him obtaining 3 goals in his first 4 Premier League appearances. But how did we get to this stage? Well, we first start off in Germany, where he started his professional career, properly with SV Elversberg, where in the 22-23 season in the Drei Liga, German third division, he got 10 goals and 3 assists in 31 matches, which is obviously nothing to boast about in the third division of German football, but it's something, especially at his age. At that point, he was 20, I believe. So, some promising signs. However, when he returned back to Werder Bremen, who were in the Bundesliga at the time, in 30 matches that he featured in, he only got 2 goals and 0 assists, so he wasn't really great. However, Stuttgart believed that there was still some potential within him, and they decided to, grab him on a free transfer in his first season there, the 24-25 season, which was obviously last season. In 28 matches that he's featured in the Bundesliga, he got 12 goals and 2 assists, which, that's mildly impressive. A goal contribution every 2 games on average, but it's nowhere near the likes of Harry Kane. And £70 million is quite a lot to pay for a player. I know that these prices are inflated for attackers, but still, he's coming to replace Alexander Isak, who is highly regarded as, a top 5 striker, I guess we could say. Well, not currently at Liverpool, but last season, I guess we could say that. And there have been some big expectations that have been placed on Woltemade as he has joined Newcastle. Bayern Munich board member and legendary former player Karl-Heinz Rummen said Newcastle were idiots for parting with £69 million for Nick Woltemade. In his 305 minutes that he's played, he has a goal average of 0.89 goals per 90. Furthermore, we can see, yes, he's not great at dribbling past defenders, but he doesn't have to be. If we look at the other kind of strikers in the Premier League, Victor Gyökeres, he was able to dribble past the Portuguese plumbers, but now that he's in the Premier League, he's got Saka and Trossard to do that for him. Also, if we look at Haaland, TK, Isak didn't really do that much last season either. So, with his height of almost 1 centimetre off of 2 meters, which I believe is 6'6", he just needs to have a strong presence in that box and challenge defenders, which we can see in his goal against Arsenal. He did just that. Gabriel just could only dive on the floor hoping for a foul, but he was never getting that, was he? Yes, maybe he hasn't been too great for the German national team, but as long as he keeps performing like this for Newcastle, he could actually justify the money that they spent on him. Obviously, I'm not saying he's a £70 million striker because he scored 3 goals in 4 Premier League games. However, the promise is there at only age 23. Bayern Munich legend said during an interview with Blickpunkt Sport, "I can only congratulate those in Stuttgart for finding," I'll use quotation marks here, "an idiot who paid that much money, because we certainly wouldn't have done that in Munich." Newcastle were, I don't want to say desperate, but they were certainly desperate, and they did overpay quite a bit. Because looking at his last valuation, which was at the start of this June, he was valued at only €30 million, which is £26.1 million. However, I do see a lot of potential in his game. So I don't think this is the worst transfer. I think this season he could be going for a 20-goal season, and he could humble that Bayern Munich legend. But what do you think? Do you think Newcastle have made a rash decision and they'll regret that? Or do you think Newcastle have made a Crystal Palace type investment, an investment for the future?